Okay, and we're back live to Argentina with Adrian Salbuchi. The issue of the New World Order. I'm going to ask you again, I did ask this before in one of our earlier conversations, how much of Argentina is aware, Adrian? Americans, by and large, the masses of them don't know. But how much of Argentina is aware that there is a globalist agenda being implemented right now? I mean, they're not messing around.
It's still a relatively small, or shall I say, a smaller proportion or portion of the population than we would all like. I would probably guess that in relative terms, more people are either intellectually aware, or at least they know that something smells rotten in the state of Argentina, to paraphrase our friend Shakespeare, because our country has been in such dire straits for such a long time. So in a way, we have become increasingly aware that a lot of our problems are absolutely artificial, and people are coming to grips with the obvious contradiction that you have an immensely rich country. Argentina is the eighth largest territory country with the eighth largest territory in the world. We should be living pretty much like kings and queens. We are underpopulated, so there's even a whole lot of wealth to go around with amongst a relatively small population. We're only 40 million. We should be at least 140 million people.
It is my understanding from you and others that Israel has taken a very keen interest in Argentina, much to the discomfort of a number of Argentines.
Well, yes, because just to give you an idea, we have a territory 7 times larger than France. We have a population of a little over half the population of France, with just 40 million people, as I was saying, and yet about 1/3 of the population is concentrated in Buenos Aires City, and about 90% of the population is located in the main heartland of the country, which is parallel 40 degrees latitude northward. Now, 40 degrees latitude southwards, you have what we call Patagonia. Patagonia is a very rich, very beautiful area which is shared by Argentina on the east and a small strip on the west by Chile on the Pacific coast. We have 5 provinces, and yet those 5 provinces combined have a population of only 1.5 million people.
Wow.
One of our counties, which is just a dot on the map of Argentina, in Greater Buenos Aires, has 1.5 million people. So what is the problem? It is very sparsely populated, and for many, many, many years now, actually going back to the end of the 19th century, the Zionist movement has specifically targeted Patagonia, so much so that Theodor Herzl, the founder of Zionism, in his watershed book, The Jewish State, actually has a chapter which says it all. He says, Palestine or Argentine. And
really?
He specifically said in 1896 that Argentina should cede a part of its territory to the Zionist movement in exchange for financial compensation. Now, 100 years go by, we had our dreadful crisis of 2001, and on 22nd August 2002, the New York Times publishes an article which had the title, "The Secession of Patagonia as a Way of Solving Argentina's Economic Problems." Now, that sounds much more than a coincidence to me. And one of the things that we are, and this actually, the top army officer actually had made some declarations about this, and he was immediately branded an anti-Semite. We have cases of many, many supposed hippies and supposed young people touring Patagonia, which, however, we all know, because it's actually come out in the papers and they have actually admitted it, they are surveying different parts of Patagonia to see if settlements can be set up down there. Yes. I have personally seen, listen to this, seen in a town called El Bolsón, which is south of Bariloche, which is one of the main mountain resorts in Patagonia, a group of very gay, very, very, very nice Israeli boys and girls, young folks, about 22, 23, 25 years old, having a good time in the lobby of a hotel. They had obviously just come in from Israel. They were speaking in English with a lot of accent, and I suppose in Hebrew. And all of a sudden, a local guy came in with a beard and levies, and he looked pretty normal. And when the guy came in, they all stood up and saluted. Now, that is not the way your normal hippie will actually behave.
Are you telling me
Yeah, what we can see is that many Israeli officers are given as a mission to go down to Patagonia, obviously not in uniform, to just mingle in with the crowd and do their service. Now, we have no idea what intelligence gathering they are making. We have no idea if they have arms. And I think that they are preparing Patagonia to be a second Jewish state, which ties in with the Zionist program from the very beginning.
How sad and how disgusting. And what you say is absolutely correct, and I have heard from other people similar kinds of things about having met young Israelis in their early 20s in various parts of the world, and they are quite clearly on a mission. I don't want to say, not like Mormons proselytizing, but they are probably in the Mossad, or certainly still in the Israeli military to a degree. It's all mixed in together. But they are probing the world and trying to peddle influence wherever they can. This is very interesting that you cite Herzl, Palestine, or Argentine.
It's the name of one of the chapters. That's exactly the title of the chapter. 1896.
Wow.
And Jeff, it ties in with what we were discussing before the break about these two very bad bomb attacks that we had down here, and why we think they are false flag attacks. Because those two attacks, imagine, on the Israeli embassy and on the AMIA Jewish Mutual Association, had such a high media impact, and it is still permanently discussed in the press, that it has, in a way, weakened any resistance to Jewish and Zionist infiltration, because they're always saying, remember, we've been attacked here, we had our headquarters demolished, and so forth. And what we are saying, now that they've actually gone so far, in consonance with Israel and with the United States, that we have officially and formally accused Iran of doing that we are saying we don't have to look for an Iranian connection. We have to look for an Israeli connection, because let me just very quickly mention something. This took place in the early 90s. And what happened in the early 90s? Well, in 1991 and 1992, the Madrid Peace Conference began, and that sent a lot of the right-wing fundamentalist Zionists completely, they went haywire. And that's when all these attacks start, which are false flag attacks, I believe. In June 1992, Yitzhak Rabin from the Labour Party was elected prime minister, and you probably remember in December of 1993, you had Rabin and Yasser Arafat with the handshake and the rose garden and Bill Clinton. Yeah. And then the violence within them, inside Israel, started getting worse and worse against the Labour government.
Hold on right there, Adrian. Hold on. We have to take a break. We'll pick it up right there in just a couple minutes.